Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I gotta sit up better for this one. It's Fanzone debate. It's a title match. We're here. Very, very excited about this one for a multitude of reasons, which we will get into. We got Cody Newberry going up against Nazario Montenegro. Cody being the champion, winning his belt earlier this year against Kirk. He has since defended said belt against Cameron Holtzman. Now he's looking to do the same against Nazario. Nazario has challenged for this belt before. He did what he wanted to do what Cody did in beating Kirk for the title when Nazario played. Kirk for the title did not win that match, but has made his way back, winning some good matches to get here. He beat Robert Kastner, who is no slouch. That was a really, really great match. And then, he played Jack, who surprised us all by getting to the number one contenders match. And Jack played well in that contenders match as well. But Nazario came to play and is going up against Cody now. This is going to be gross, I think. They were both talking all coy beforehand. Cody, just win the 4 right away. Like, Cody and Nazario, or I'm going to lose all 4. Shut up. You're both good at this, okay? And this is going to, I'm nervous because they're just going to yell at each other. And I'm excited, but I'm nervous. And Brian, I've talked for a long time now. You're here. Are you looking forward to this? Your thoughts on the match?
I am looking forward to this. I've been here for I don't think all of their debates in this run, but most of them. And it's going to be fun. Cody's Cody, and like you said, Nazario has played for it before. He's done a great job, and plus he has a way of getting under Cody's skin, so that's going to make it extra fun.
That's true. Mark, you're here. Your thoughts on the match?
I'm no stranger to being around when Cody yells a lot. So it's usually I usually have a good time. Nazario being here is fun. I in the matches in which I've judged in, and Nazario is also fun. I've enjoyed them quite a bit, and you got like one hothead going up against a guy who can make people into hotheads. Like, I think we're in for a fun one.
That's fair. I like that appraisal of these two. So we are going to get into this, and we're going to start by talking to the players. We're going to talk to Nazario. Nazario, welcome. I'm excited to have you here. You've played for this belt before. It didn't go your way that time, but I think this proves a second title match appearance. You've been in multiple contender matches. This proves, I think, that you're one of the greatest to play this game because you know how to talk. You don't need to study trivia to know how to talk, and you know how to do it. And so you're going up against Cody. In your post-match of your number one contenders win, you said that you were looking forward to this one. How are you feeling as we are finally here?
First of all, it is weird to hear that you're one of the best at something when your record says otherwise, very strongly. But yeah, it's Cody. It's a fun debate. I just want to, mess with the guys a little bit. I'm not under any delusion that I'm going to run with this. But if I can make it a fight, even if it's a dirty one, I'm going to have some fun.
You've played in a lot of matches, but you have 9 wins on your record. And
how many losses?
7.
Oh, I thought it was like 9-9.
No, 9-7. 9-7, and you have 1 KO. And this season, granted, you have had more matches than Cody, but this season you do have 8 clean sweeps as well. So that's a lot of clean sweeps, which is impressive. We're going to bring in Cody. Cody, welcome to the title match. You're here for another one. You played Kirk earlier this year. Then you played Holtzman. It's been a while since we've seen you now. Is there going to be rust not having played for a while, or are you just as confident as always to go up against the Panamanian Devil?
Oh man, why wasn't that his nickname? Listen, Rust, I don't know. We'll find out when we start debating. But like as Mark knows, when I'm on call with Mark all the time, I argue with him about something at some point. Like Letterboxd review, his opinion on a movie. So I'm always arguing with somebody about something. But Nazario, it's funny how Fanzone kind of been, when I was out of it and I didn't judge things, Nazario would come to me and be like, you can't believe this bullshit. Look at what they judged on. Can you believe they gave this point? This is stupid. So he just rant to me.
Yeah.
We have a mutual respect for debate between each other. We've always wanted this kind of match to happen between us. So win, lose, or draw, like this, like Kirk the second time, I needed to beat Kirk. There was no question about it because that first one, you three can attest, haunted me for months after. Like I was not physically okay for a while. I needed this. If Nazario beats me, I think that's a really cool story overall. Will I hate it? Absolutely. And will I be back next season? Sure. But like it would be cool if he does take me down because I think he does have like the ability to be. I think he can talk a lot. I think he can call me on my BS on some stuff. But we'll see how it goes. And unlike his 49ers, I'm going to wear the hat and hopefully pull out a win today. So
I just realized you were wearing that. Oh my God. Okay. Well, this is how the show's going to work tonight, guys. We are going to debate five prep questions because this is a title match. So Cody got to pick 3 categories. Nazario got to pick his normal 2. And we are going to debate those questions tonight before our very souls. So how it's going to work. They're each going to get a 1-minute opening, followed by a 5-minute freeform, followed by a 1-minute closing from each competitor. At the end of the debate, Brian, Mark, and I will write on our handy-dandy boards, which mine is over there. I need to go get it. We'll write on our boards who we thought won the point. 2 out of 3 votes wins you the point. Because this is a title match, first person to 4 points will win the match and gain or retain the title. Gentlemen, any questions as we get into round number 1?
Nope.
Let Russ cook.
Sure. All right, we are going to kick this off with the first category, which was drafted by Mr. Newberry. It is in the category of James Bond, the fandom category of James Bond. And your question is, what is the best villain death in a non-Roger Moore James Bond film? Cody, you get to kick this off. You have 1 minute. When you start talking, I will come in to give you the 10-second warning.
So the best villain death in any movie, I had to go with Dominic Green from Quantum of Solace. I know how some will react as like, really, that's the one? But as you see Bond throughout all films, Bond shoots people, lights them on fire, pushes them down things, drowns them. He does quintessential kills. He never does vengeful kills. He never does anything that is almost like brutality or evil, where he takes Dominic Green, drives him like 30 miles into the desert, drops him off, and gives him a can of motor oil to drink as his water, and is later told to us by M that they found motor oil in his belly and 20 miles away and got 2 shots in the back of his head from Spectre agents. That is by far the most brutal death. It may not show it fully on screen, but it doesn't have to dictate how brutal that he was to Dominic Green.
Time. Okay. We're going to move over to Mr. VHS. Nazario, you have 1 minute to open your argument when you start talking.
When I think about the best villain there, I have to go with more meaningful. Something that not only looks cool, but also has some thought behind it. And in License to Kill, Franz Sanchez is a bastard. He's a monster of a man. He's a drug lord who has a very, very violent streak. And one of the things he does is actually go to James Bond's best friend, Felix Leiter, and maim him while killing / doing other stuff to his wife. And Bond was the best man at his wedding. He got a lighter for it. That's his like souvenir from the wedding. And after all the things they go through, it's very, very much of a poetic justice scene when not only is Franz Sanchez fell by his own plot because his plan was to put his drugs in gasoline. He's covering it. But when Bond kills him with the lighter from his friend, that is just a beautiful moment, my friend.
Time. Okay. Sanchez versus Green. 5-minute freeform when one of you starts talking. I will throw up the 1 minute warning when the time comes. If one of you talks too much, can't think why one of you would do that, but I would throw up the let's move on. If I feel like you're just being a fucking asshole, I made a new card. Let your opponent talk. And then otherwise, I'm going to send Nick to beat you with a stick. So don't do any of that. 5-minute free form with one of you, sir.
So yes, I think it's very cool that he gets lit on fire and explodes
Yes.
that you can't see the explosion. Is that the best? No,
You see
because
it, yes.
overall, okay, let your opponent talk. Interesting how that worked. So my viewpoint is that yes, we've seen people get lit on fire in movies and we see explosions. That's not anything interesting or new into the spy genre. Where Bond does that all the time to a lot of villains throughout. He throws them off high things. He gets the final shot. You got to be quicker than that. Holding a tie, knocks it off their hand, makes them fall from a high dive. Those things happen. He gets them one up. This one where Dominic Green, he never takes anybody out of their way, doesn't do it by his own hands, and makes him miserable the entire way and die by the hands of other people, but also make him so deprived that he has to drink motor oil for his only source of liquid into his body is the most vengeful death that you can do, especially in a James Bond film.
Is it the most vengeful death question? Because I thought it was best.
Oh, sure.
By the way, funny that you say you see it on screen, because mine you get to see. Yours does not. You just drop the guy in the desert, move on with the movie, and somebody tells like, oh yeah, this happened. That's very, very not memorable. Mine, yes, he has lit other people on fire, but this time he was covered in gasoline and cocaine by his own making, and he was lit on fire with the present that he got from the friend that he maimed and his wife killed. So it also meaningful, somebody would call it poetic justice. And not only is it important, minimal, and it gives you an emotional investment, it looks fucking cool on screen, when he actually shows you the death.
So I think that there is a lot of symbolized. I don't need to see Dominic Green walk in the desert for 20 miles and then die and drink the motor oil. That's okay to tell me. The dropping him off and throwing the can to him and telling him, hey, I bet you'll be 20 miles down before you have to drink this. And then for M to tell them, and Bond basically goes, and when M says, do you know anything about this? And Bond goes, wish I could help. Can't. It's the first time Bond actually, you're right, he uses the lighter that Lighter gave him. Ooh, great pun, beautiful.
It is.
It's really not that cool of a scene either, because he bursts into flames for 5 seconds and then Dalton runs the hell away and you see the explosion, and that's supposed to be the cool moment. You don't see him suffer. You don't really see him in any pain. It's instant fire, instant explosion. It's over. My thing for him to draw out a death where he could have easily put a bullet in his head. He could have drug him behind the car. He could have done all that. But to make him suffer the entire way that he made everybody else suffer in that movie, I think is absolutely great poetic justice.
Like I'm saying, you're mentioning great ideas. Drag him behind the car in the desert. Show me something. Movies are a visual medium. Books, though, they have epilogues. That you're describing is like an epilogue. You can put that. You end the movie. You put a title card. You say 20 miles down the road, he had motor oil on his stomach and 2 bullets in his head. That's nice. Maybe if you're ending a movie like, I don't know, The Green Mile or something. But for James Bond, you want to see what happened. And like I said, he also fell by his own hand, because it was his own gasoline filled with cocaine that ended up ending him from all the people that he tortured, all the people that he killed indirectly by selling them drugs. And this is how he goes. And by the way, you do get to see him suffer. That man screams like a bitch for about 15 seconds before he runs into the truck full of gasoline and explodes. And again, nice visual.
So here's the thing. In movies like The Shawshank Redemption, I don't need to see Brooks hang himself. I don't need to see people die on screen to make it a justified death or a sad or emotional death. These are moments that you see in film that they can be dictated to. Perfect example, in Jojo Rabbit, we never see Scarlett Johansson killed. We see or get told or by visual. That's it. So these are my things. Awesome. My thing is, you don't need to actually see the death being created. The story of it coming back to you is still just as powerful of seeing the person die on screen. It doesn't need any drawn out. It doesn't need special effects or anything over the top. You just need the death to count and moments to matter. And Dominic Green being drugged to the desert and having to drink oil as his only source is the most brutal in Bond, for sure.
All right, we're gonna start with Nazario. I had to think about that. Nazario, you have 1 minute to close your argument when you start talking.
Again, movies are a visual medium, and we're talking about the best villain death in a non-more Bond film. And I do not think that leaving somebody in the desert and assuming what's going to happen and just get reconfirmed by the epilogue, it's really that memorable. Does it have meaning? Is it important? Maybe a little significance with the motor oil and stuff, but mine does too. And mine actually just turns around to a scene that set up the death. Like you get the scene with Felix Leiter. You get the meaningful for Bond that it is that his friend is now dead. You know the meaning that the meaningful that is Leiter becomes, and Leiter is also Leiter, which is just beautifully written. And the thing is that when he actually gets to pay his dues, it has emotional resonance because we have been seeing the story. We have had the full arc. It's meaningful for this. It's just a more complete thing, which you should get on a movie, which is a visual medium.
Okay, we're going to move over to Cody. Cody, you have 1 minute to close when you start talking.
If this was Beth's death scene, sure, correct, 100%. It's not. It's just the best death. It doesn't have to be seen. It's the thing that is delivered to you in the movie. The best death is that. Your film even has a better death if you wanted to choose it. You should have chose when he gets crushed in the cocaine crusher. You didn't choose that one either. My thing is, Bond does this in all movies. He gets the quick upper hand, the wink at the camera, the shine of the lighter and lights somebody on fire or pushes them off a building or shoots them in a funny way, delivering a line. This is the same thing he does over and over. This is the first time in James Bond film that he is actually vengeful. He doesn't do it by his own hands. He wants to make Dominic Green suffer when he knows Spectre agents are coming for him anyways. So he's going to pull him out into the desert and make him die at the hands of somebody else after being completely exhausted and desperate. That is the best death, even if it's not seen.
Not seen. Strike it from the record. All right, we're going to bring in El Judgelanos. Okay, so.
That felt too nice, though.
The fight?
Yeah.
You guys were very
respectful.
respectful.
At least start off that way.
I enjoyed it very, very much. Thank you.
You have to understand, Cody knows I'm here, and he tones it down because he knows that doesn't sway me.
Ah.
Also, I don't fall into your tricks. Sorry.
Okay. Judges ready?
Yeah.
Okay. As I just said, thought this was good. Gonna be honest, Nazario had me for the openings. Big chunk of the first half of the prep round or the main round. I was on Nazario's side because I think Nazario did a really good job of kind of saying, like, we're not even, it's a visual medium, he kept saying. I thought Cody's zinger about Jojo Rabbit and Shawshank Redemption was great. I thought that was a really, really good counterpoint because not something I thought about at all. These are deaths that you don't see in the movies, but they are still sad, impactful on the film. I still went with Nazario, though.
Because you see her foot.
No, although I laughed really hard when you said you see her foot. But I do think that despite Cody's really big uppercut there on that, Nazario still did enough to explain the symbolism and the effectiveness visually. Like, it is a cool thing to look at but also what it means from the beginning of the movie all the way through to the end, I thought just like worked way better for me. Cody had talked about like, you know, how this was Bond being vengeful against Green and everything. I never really heard why. Not that I needed to, but like that added weight might have done something. I was struggling to really feel why this was like way better than the other one. Both are interesting the way they painted them, but Nazario definitely painted the better picture of like the better death in the film. So Brian, where are you going and why?
A lot of my thinking went the same way as yours. You know, I was kind of going for Nazario for the first part because he was, you know, the visual medium and talking about the cool things and how he uses the lighter that his friend gave him and all that kind of stuff. But like you, Cody came back for me, especially we started referring to Shawshank and JoJo, and I'm like, that's a great comeback. You don't have to show the death on scene for it to be a great death. In the end, I also went for Nazario. But my reasoning was actually, though, because I was waiting for, when it came down to it, Cody's was still just, it was a cool idea of something for him to do to this villain, but in the end, the death was just getting shot. And by Cody's own words, he was, you know, he's leaving him in the desert to get shot by somebody else. So it wasn't even, Bond didn't even get to do it. So for me, that didn't sway me. Give it to Nazario.
Okay, Mark, your vote doesn't count. Where would you have gone and why?
Well, swayed one person. I did, but I went with Cody. I don't know. I was honestly kind of with Cody, honestly, since the beginning of the fight, mainly because I honestly thought like he did a good job of kind of hurting Nazario's points, at least the beginning of like how Bond has done like poetic deaths to other villains before, so it kind of made Nazario's death a little less special. And I think Cody's brutality angle of kind of like what he does to Green, I think got me to why I went with him. But yeah.
Okay. So that's why we have 3 judges, as they say. So Nazario was up 1-0. So we are going to move on to the next question, which was drafted by Mr. Montenegro. It is in the category of actors and actresses. This is going to be fun. What is the best performance from a non-human character in a Kevin Clash 1990s film? Nazario, we're kicking it off with you. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
It is very particular to make a good performance with a non-human character when it's not CGI, when it's not motion capture, when it's actually, you know, like actual puppets, which they did in the 90s. So after thinking about it for a while, I decided to go with Captain Abraham Smollett from Muppets Treasure Island, played splendidly by Kermit. Everybody knows that in the Robert Louis Stevenson novel Treasure Island, Captain Smollett is a character with a lot of courage and leadership and a very full of integrity. He's very competent. He's a sea expertise captain, so it's a very established hero type character. So when you cast Kermit as him, at the beginning it doesn't sound like it can work, but Kermit brings a confidence and a portrayal of seriousness to this character, which is not usual for him. But he's still Kermit. So somehow they managed to do a character that feels like the original book character with the essence of Kermit, which is just kind and funny and witty.
Time. Kermit. Okay, Cody, we're going to bring you in 1 minute when you start talking. You're muted.
Mute myself so I don't say anything bad about the judges. Okay. Splinter, listen. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the 90s are absolute horseshit. They're garbage. They're trash movies. They're nostalgia porn for people that love the Turtles. Watching that entire movie, there's a heart and soul that doesn't fit in those movies, but fits perfectly because he's the one that keeps you grounded throughout the story, and that is Splinter. Splinter, a rat that gives you wisdom, guidance, tries to keep the Turtles in place, mentors people around him, gets beaten up in the film, and you feel for him. You're like, why the hell do I care about this rat? You do. You care about these moments. And it's from that voice act, it's from that performance that you're able to get, you're like, oh my God, there's actually a heart and soul to this movie besides 3-4 turtles just eating pizza and acting like dumbasses. Like, it's so weird, but like even them trying to get back to him and care for him makes this movie like somewhat watchable, which I think is a very impressive thing.
Time. All right, coming to Fandom in 2024, Ninja Turtles. Smollett, Splinter, 5-minute freeform when one of you starts talking.
So if somebody says to me that Splinter from the 1990 movie is a great performance of Splinter, I know it's somebody who has never seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That character had a lot of history before that in cartoons and in comics. And
doesn't count.
Yes, I know. But what I'm saying is it's a well-rounded character that just couldn't be achieved in 1990 with that puppet. That puppet is very bad, which makes his whole performance very stiff. And the way that Kevin Clash tries to do him is just trying to do the voice of an old, smart, older character. But he's supposed to be a ninja master. He's supposed to be a caring father. And none of that comes through on that performance. He's stiff, he's monotonous, and he's boring. On the other hand, Kermit gets to be Kermit acting like Captain Smollett. Steve Whitmire is brilliant. He inherited the character of Kermit after the death of Jim Henson. And this is only the second time that he's doing it for a feature. And he fucking kills it. He manages to project all the characteristics known from the classic story of Treasure Planet on Captain Smollett. What's still been Kermit?
Yeah, I don't know what Treasure Planet is, but that's fair.
No, sorry.
My thing,
Treasure Island.
my thing is, so you're gonna fault it on the character, the costume design of the character. That's even more impressive that his performance is able to transcend from a crappy puppet or a crappy costume, that he's able to translate and get past the views of their limitations in the 90s. I think that's what stands above. I think he's able to ground this movie and give this movie heart and like light up moments, and like seems like that disappointed father when the turtles mess up, or when he's hurt and he hurt and the people around him, and he's able to talk wisdom to one of the members of the gang and like tell him that this isn't life for him. Like, those are important moments. You picked Kermit. Congratulations. You can call him Captain. You can call him whatever you want. It is Kermit in a pirate, in a captain's hat. There is nothing different. Like, one thing he doesn't say is Miss Piggy. You could have picked so many characters from this. Like, Gonzo is way better of a Muppet character throughout this entire movie than Kermit. Kermit does nothing different. If this is the second movie, congratulations. He's doing a great copy of what Kermit did in the 70s and beyond. He doesn't change anything different besides he's on a ship. And it is mind-blowing.
What I'm telling you is, everything that you're saying about Splinter is just projection. You think he's supposed to be a good mentor. You think he's supposed to be funny in some scenes. He's not. He's very monotonous. And it is, yes, part is limitations on the character because of the animatronic that they gave him. And the rest is just not really good voice portrayal by Kevin Clash. He may be telling you a story. He may be giving you a lesson. He may be trying to tell a joke. It all sounds the same. It all looks the same. Just because that's what the script says it is, it doesn't mean that it translates well. If it had, he would be a better performance. Kermit, yes, he keeps the essence of being Kermit. That is part of my pitch. But he also is Kermit acting out the character of Captain Abraham Smollett.
No,
he does the confidence. He does the direction. He does integrity and kindness that he has. And yet, he's always Kermit. You're saying Gonzo? Gonzo just plays Gonzo. He's not even playing somebody else. So there is nothing to achieve here. In the role that Steve Whitmire gets to do with Kermit, is actually show you that this is Kermit playing someone else. And he's the only character on the whole movie that gets to do that on a functional level.
I'm sorry, that's one of the wildest takes ever. Kermit's being Kermit, and Kermit is this. But let me tell you, Gonzo's playing Gonzo, and don't discredit Gonzo. It makes no sense. Yes, you can put Kermit in a pirate outfit or a captain outfit and call him. He literally does the same thing that Kermit does in every movie whatsoever. I don't care. This is such a wild take that the animatronics of Splinter discredits Splinter. But the thing is, his
and the voice actor.
But his
And the
voice
acting,
acting
yes.
carries you throughout the film and gets you that heart that you
It
need throughout the
doesn't.
film. I'm
Just
sorry.
because you say it doesn't mean it does.
I'm talking. I'm sorry that you care about the cartoon and the comics and everything that builds up. I'm going off what I was presented in the movie, and what I'm presented in the movie is a character that shows the disappointed father, shows that he's a master and keeps them level, shows them a mentor side of it, shows when he's
What
actually
you are
being
presented
hurt,
is a
the
stiff
voice
performance
changes.
by an animatronic and a stiff voice. That is what you're presented, and you're just trying
You're
to sell everything
presenting
else
a
because there's nothing
Kermit
else.
ripoff. You're presenting a person that's doing the Jim Henson copy.
A Kermit interpretation by a new actor who is the more surprising because he manages
So
to
guess
trick
what?
everybody to believe in it.
Then Austin Butler is the best Elvis that's ever existed because he's just doing an impression of Elvis. What are we doing?
Time.
That is disgusting to end on.
This is what I wanted. Okay, Cody, you get 1 minute to close when you start talking.
So Gonzo doesn't get credit because Gonzo's are playing Gonzo, but he's playing Kermit because he's doing an impression of what Kermit was out there. That's the problem. Best performance in a Kermit. He plays Kermit everywhere. There's no difference. There's also a really good tone because I picked from the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, and I made that point because if you watch the second Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, Splinter is not the same character. They try to liven him up. They try to make him more funny. They try to make him a butt of a joke, and it doesn't work. This is the whole viewpoint. Splinter in that first movie is the heart and soul of that movie. You only care about him. When he is hurt and the turtles long for him, you feel that fatherly relationship. That's by the voice performance, and that's what they portray in it. I don't care that they couldn't move their necks and move around because it was bad animatronics. That even shows the performance more. He was able to overcome limitations out there because of this and still give an outstanding performance. Kermit just plays Kermit, and that's all he does throughout the movie.
Time. Okay, we're going to bring in Mr. Montenegro. You get 1 minute to close your argument when you start talking.
He's trying to diminish the fact that Kermit is playing another character. When I'm saying Gonzo plays Gonzo, is because the actor that plays Gonzo, David Goelz, has done Gonzo for all his life. So he knows how to do Gonzo. Steve Whitmire, it's impressive because he's only his second time doing Kermit. And he's not only doing Kermit, he's doing Kermit pretending to be somebody else. And the fact that he convinces you that the character has integrity, composure, and kindness as he's a leader, while also still maintaining the essence of what Kermit is amazing because it's a performance of another performance. The fact that you're going with Splinter, I love that you mentioned Secret of the Ooze, by the way. Secret of the Ooze has the same animatronic and the same voice actor, and it's just as shitty as the first one. The only difference is that the script for the first one was a little better. So what he's trying to sell you, what he's reciting, is better dialogue than the ones he's trying to sell you and recite on the second one. The fact that you mentioned the movie happens this, and this does not make it good, does not make it memorable. They were limitations by the animatronics, and it was just a bad performance. Kermit was fucking gold.
Time. Okay, we're going to bring in the judges. Okay. Judges ready?
Yes.
Okay. Mark, you're kicking us off on this one.
Oh, shit. Okay. Okay. Somebody talk.
Okay. You're good. You're good, Mark.
Okay. I disconnected my headphone for a second. Okay. But it is me, right? Like,
yes, you're good. You're ready to go.
Okay. This round is probably more of what I expected us to get today, and it's led to a really tough choice. I just like to rip off the Mandate. I went with Nazario. A lot of it was in honestly that his closing. I think it was like it kind of some of the reiterated points he made, and honestly, kind of the knockout punch for me was when he kind of when Cody kind of talked about the sequel. I'm kind of and bringing that in, and then kind of Nazario brought back around that point of it's the same person, it's same animatronics, and like you didn't like it there, but you kind of liked it in this other one. Like I kind of like that point, and I think to me like that was more or less where the fight was won. It was honestly pretty neck and neck all the way through. I just think Nazario just kind of closed it out a bit better at the end.
Okay. I went with Cody. I think that yes, for if you know, you know. I agree with Mark in the sense that I thought it was actually no, I'm not going to say that. I don't think it was neck and neck. I think this was like a 70-30 type of fight. I think Nazario did a good job. Like if you ever thought I would vote for against Kermit the Frog, you're fucking insane because I love that man. He's not. I don't know who Steve Whit. It's a joke. I do know who Steve Whitmire is. But Kermit is a real person. God damn it. But I thought that Cody sold me pretty well on the how I don't really vibe with the whole like the movie sucks, but this thing is good in the movie, and that's why it's the best. But this time it kind of worked for me. Like that normally doesn't work for me, but I thought Cody did a good job of being like, the turtle suits kind of suck, and those performances kind of suck, and the movie's kind of crap. And yet, Splinter's a really brings a lot of heart and soul to the movie. And Kermit is just, it's Kermit. And he may be doing a character, but he's Kermit. And Nazario was like, yeah, but he's Kermit and the character. And Cody was like, yeah, but he's Kermit. So like I agree with actually both points made by both players. Like I think that they both sold me on their characters, but why I think Cody's stabs against Kermit were stronger than Nazario's stabs against Splinter. The sequel talk that Mark brought up, it didn't really do much for me. Like it could be the same person, whatever. Like that doesn't matter. Like Courtney Cox is good in Scream 1. Is she that great in any of the other films? I don't know. Like that doesn't matter to me. So Brian, you're deciding this one. Where's it going and why?
Yeah, I think this debate could have probably ended like 30 seconds into the prep round or prep section because I essentially was hearing the same thing through the entire debate, which was fine. I mean, they were both good points. I mean, Cody was talking about how how Splinter made it grounded, and he brought some gravitas to the movie and things like that. But Nazario countered back that he was kind of boring and things like that, and I agree with those points. The same thing with Kermit being Cody was talking about how he's just being Kermit again, just happens to be in a captain's hat, and so that's kind of what I heard throughout the whole debate. I did end up going with Cody though. I think that whereas you think it was the stabs against the other person that kind of sold it for you, I felt that the stabs against them each other was pretty even, but Cody I thought gave you a little bit more on the positives for his.
Okay, fair enough. Mark, don't worry. You might side with one of us tonight. It's okay. Don't.
No, he won't.
I don't know. We've seen it go over this way a number of times before. I'm going to pick the loser the whole fucking fight.
Just have Mark go first, and we'll know whoever wins is the other one.
All right, so we are tied up 1-1. We are going to move on to the next question, which was drafted by Mr. Newberry in the category of directors. And the question is, which 1980s to present Martin Scorsese character would you most not want at a family event? This is going to be fun. We're going to start with Cody. Cody, you get to go first. You have 1 minute to open when you start talking.
Scorsese doesn't make a lot of likable characters from time to time, and his remake of Cape Fear takes the cake. Who I don't want around my party is a person out of jail that is an ex-con that accused of rape, and also like goes towards the lawyer's daughter and makes the most uncomfortable advances of all time towards her. Where he's trying to pursue relations with her. That's not my kind of barbecue. Extremely aggressive, extremely psychopathic, extremely vengeful, flies off the handle, no questions asked. Max Cady is by far the person that I wouldn't want at a family function or like anywhere with me, to be honest. So Max Cady with a bullet is amazing.
Time. Great. We are going to move over to Nazario. Nazario, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
When you think of somebody you really don't want near your family or a party or whatever, not even in my neighborhood. The first person I think about is Speed Shine Tony from Goodfellas. And don't call him that because he will fucking kill you. Tony DeVito, portrayed by Joe Pesci. Boy, this guy has a fucking chip on his shoulder because he believes he has not been given his proper due as an Italian man in the mob. So he has to work from being a shoeshine boy to actually getting into the business and then stealing trucks and then growing. And the fact that actually keeps them working with the mob is the fact that he has a fucking violent streak. This man takes nothing. He doesn't take jokes. He doesn't take looks. If you got that guy next to your barbecue and somebody questions why he's wearing Italian shoes, he will fucking murder you with the Bobby. I don't want that guy near my family.
Time. All right. Scumbag v. Scumbag. 5-minute freeform when one of you starts talking.
Tommy is by far one of the worst choices you can do. Yes, he's a hothead. Inside the family settings, inside the mob settings, he is a loose cannon and he is crazy. But he is shown in that movie around family settings, around relationship settings, around where he has to stay cool. He will stay cool the entire time. If he sits down at the table with the mom and he has that whole relationship and there's fine, he is seen on like dates and stuff. He doesn't fly off the handle everywhere. It's always with the gang setting. So if you invited him to the thing, he would be the life of the party. He'd probably be the funniest guy in the room and he'd carry the respect in that room. Max Cady, if you let him loose with somebody, he could take your child, he could take your wife, he could murder 3 people. He could be completely unhinged, and that's who you don't want in a party.
Tony DeVito is nice when he wants to be nice. Why are you assuming that he likes your fucking family? He killed parties he killed people on a welcome back out of jail party for another mobster who was made. He does not give a fuck. Henry is supposed to be one of his best friends, and even he is afraid of him because of his violent streak. That man, if he chooses to be nice to you, it's because he likes you. Nobody guarantees he will like anybody in your family. That could end up in a fucking tragedy. Max Cady, though, I mean, I'm not going to tell you he's a good guy. It's a fucking rapist, yes, but he has, like you said, he's very vengeful toward the people who fucking wronged him. If you see that movie, he wants to fuck like Nick Nolte's daughter because he's trying to get avenging on Nick Nolte who fucking wronged him. He could have gotten him off and he chose not to. So that guy studied. He became a lawyer and he learned why he got fucked. And he only has a one-way street back to Nick Nolte's revenge. He doesn't want to fuck with anybody except that guy. And you know what? He knows so much about fucking crime law. He would be an interesting conversation at a barbecue.
Okay. The whole life to sit there and have a conversation with Tommy. If you're inviting Tommy, you're at least in his inner circle, and you at least he would like to hang out with you, and he can create that environment and have fun with all those people. I'm sorry, I don't know where this may get Tim canceled off the internet, but I don't know. Once a rapist, I don't want around my situation, regardless if it was one time or maybe just 2 accidents, 2 mistakes, or it was just the daughter that he chose for. He has something in he has in his brain that he wants to target certain things when he gets in that way. I don't need that at a family party. I'm not asking him to pass the potato salad. I'm letting him keep the potato salad because he ain't at my party. Tommy can at least tell jokes, stories, make people laugh. He can dance. He can tell jokes. That's what I want at a party. I think he would be the life of the party.
Are we balancing murder, violent streak, raping to see which one is worse? They're both crimes. They're both awful people. The point is that Max Cady focuses his rage onto one direction and one direction only. If you didn't do nothing to wrong him, he will have a great time with you in the barbecue. He will smoke some cigars. He will tell you some fucking funny stories about being in jail. Because, hey, that happens. Tony, you can be laughing with him 1 minute, and then you look at him wrong, or you accidentally put a little dirt on his fucking Italian shoes, and he will fucking end you. And he will not wait for night. He will not wait for everybody to leave. He will fucking end you right there. He'll kill you in front of your family for no reason, because that guy has a temper.
The problem that you're using is all mob related. They are kill or get killed in the mob. That is exactly what the relationship
is. He not a mobster
inside the mob? Yes, but the thing is, Grandma, Nancy that brings the ribs, he ain't getting stabbed in the face because he doesn't care. He's not getting overshadowed by the people around him. He's going to get overshadowed by other mobsters. That's the
What
problem.
about if Uncle Johnny shows up to the barbecue, gets drunk, and puts sauce on his shirt and drops a bucket of shots in his shirt?
That's not what he's forget. The thing is, he is around other people all the time and doesn't kill anybody. He doesn't kill everybody just out of spite. He kills other mobsters. A family event, he would not have that problem. Max Cady, regardless of how you see fit, if he becomes a lawyer or not, he's a psychopath. He's went to jail, and he comes out of jail. But the thing is, he's a convicted one that has these mentalities, and a family event is going to have children around, and I don't trust his mentality around children, where Tommy has shown not to do that.
Dude, Tommy doesn't give a shit who is in the fucking party, and he doesn't make you say he only does this in the movie, in the mobster, because that's what they show you in the movie. If Uncle Johnny's sauce on his shirt, he's
not justice.
My God, I love this. Okay, Nazario, you get to close first. You got 1 minute when you start talking.
He wants to limit Tony DeVito's behavior to mob-related things. That is not what that guy is. That guy is a fucking loose cannon. And I'm telling you, if a drunk uncle shows up in that barbecue and spills some fucking barbecue sauce on him and just like, oh, my bad, boy, whatever, and says something wrong, he will fucking kill him right then and there. That is what Joe Pesci is in that movie. Everybody remembers how he was funny. How? Tell me how I'm funny. How am I funny to you? Was that worth his life? No. Max Cady, yes, he's a fucking sociopath. He's a fucking rapist. He's a criminal. They both are. Like I said, I'm not gonna balance what is worse. They are both shit. But he is very smart. He's so smart that he taught himself how to read and taught himself to be a lawyer, and he figured out the way to get out of jail. And after that, he only focused on his revenge on one person. And if you're not that person, you can take that guy to a fucking barbecue, have some laugh, have some beer, hang out. It doesn't make you a good person that you invited him to your house, but he won't fucking kill you because he doesn't have to. He doesn't have a reason. He's very focused on Nick Nolte and his daughter.
Okay, we're gonna move over to Cody, who has 1 minute.
Funny how in that scene he doesn't kill anybody. That's the perfect example. He's telling a joke, he's getting worked up. That's who he is. And you're saying this guy is so smart and think Max Cady, great, he's smart. He can literally screw with people in your family if he has that inclination, if he has that vibe. If my 13-year-old niece comes around, I don't want him around Max Cady. He doesn't. And how do you introduce him at a party? Oh, this is Max. He just got a proven for rape, but listen, he's changed. He read a book. He's educated now. He's doing really good. He talked to him about crime law. Don't talk to him about rape. What are we doing? Tommy has shown in the movie where you think, and I love that you want to use the extended cut of Goodfellas, where off screen he murders a bunch of nuns at some place that doesn't show on screen. So I don't know that's the facts. He kills within the mob because that is what we know about Tommy. He kills in the mob. He sits at a family table and cuts it up with Mama Scorsese and has a great old time and joined the fun. There's no real issues there that he is showing any aggression towards people that are not inside the family. That's why he could fill that void.
Time. For the record, I came in a little late for Nazario, so you each got an extra 2 seconds on that closing. I hope it was worth it. Okay, so that actually happens a lot. If you ever, I'm always afraid that someone's going to be sitting watching the video like, but it happens all the time where all of a sudden I'm like, fuck, I forgot to hit start on the timer. So you guys might get 5.5 minutes. I don't fucking know. But no, you each got 102 on that last one.
Yeah.
Mark, are the Raiders winning yet?
No.
Fuck.
Who's playing tonight?
Lions Raiders.
Yep.
Cody and Mark.
The Lions are winning.
Cody
Okay.
Nazario, I mean.
He just threw a pick six So now it's 16-14.
Are you watching it too?
Am I the only person watching this debate?
I'm watching.
I mean, it's
Okay,
on mute. It's just it's just.
I don't have a TV in this room.
Brian, you're starting.
Yeah. I think they both made actually, as the resident Scorsese fan and expert here.
Yeah, of course.
No, I honestly feel they both made great cases, both for their own and against the other person's. I thought this is the best debate I've heard in a while, honestly. Really good. Came down to me, for me, was actually Nazario's own example. You know, we'll kill other adults and make advances on your 13-year-old daughter. Yeah, that's unbalanced. Cody.
Mark.
Yeah. Both of these people would, probably don't want to be hanging around them. Like if you can help it, you don't want either of these two guys around. I think at the end of the day, like one of these characters is clearly the more awkward and like the more potential for being like just like ugh. And I feel like Cody made that argument pretty well. Like you don't want Max Cady around your family members.
The curse is broken. Mark has sided with someone. My vote doesn't count. I also went with Cody. It has nothing to do with the Commanders playing. But I will say that Nazario, from the choices, did not have me at all. I'm like, this isn't even fucking close, man. His point of, are we really like talking about what is the worst crime, like murder or rape? Like, are we really doing that? And Cody's dumbfounded, like, afterwards was fucking brilliant. And I want it gift, like, immediately. It was great. That being said, I think Nazario did a fantastic job. I really do. He almost had me on a couple points, and my thought was, Cody loses Scorsese point, he's going to kill himself, so I need to vote for him. But no, actually, I do think that Cody, at the end of the day, did the better. I think the whole thing that he was painting the whole time of Tony's great in the family and in the public situations. We've seen that. And I think Nazario was right to attack him and the mafia. That's what we see in the movie, like whatever. But at the same time, I think that Cody's whole, like, sure, he's going against like one lawyer, like one daughter, but that's problematic fucking enough. I think that Cody did. I agree with Brian. This is one of the best debates we've heard in a while. This was really good. All of these have been really good so far, so this is great. But Cody wins the point, and it is 2-1 in favor of Cody. So we're going to move on to the next question. This was drafted in the category of horror icons, a fandom category from Nazario. And the question is, what is the grossest moment in a 1980s Nightmare on Elm Street film? Nazario, you don't like Freddy's Dead? What the fuck? Nazario, you get to go first. You have 1 minute when you start talking. You are muted.
Freddy's famous for eviscerating people with his knife fingers. So there's like, it becomes a very balanced thing after a while. But if you're thinking like, shit, that was some gross fucking moment, that's got to be the death of Greta in The Dream Child and Nightmare on Elm Street 5. She's in a family dinner where she falls asleep. And then Freddy appears as a waiter, and he starts force feeding her. And he only force feeds her. The food turns into guts and eyeballs and, fucking guts. And then you realize that he's actually cutting it from her and feeding it at the same time. And then her face starts to, deform into the big thing because he keeps fucking force feeding it into her mouth. And then she kind of pukes, and you see the puke around the balls while everybody in the table is laughing and questioning Greta. Greta, why do you eat so much? Greta, why do you eat so much? And then you see him just keep shoving shit on his mouth, and then the food starts, getting rotten. It's delicious.
I heard it's, and then you cut out for me, so I don't know what you said. 1 minute for Cody to open when he starts talking.
Grossest moment in a nightmare. All of them. They're all fucking disgusting. They're all nasty. But the one that's by far the worst is, I believe, in number 4, the cockroach death. This woman is working out. She's lifting some weight, and all of a sudden, Freddy appears behind her and starts by pushing the weight down on her arms. You see both elbows snap backwards, so you see it poke out. And then what comes out of those is cockroach arms. So you see the flesh and blood spew out of that. And she walks forward, and then she gets her face trapped on a glue trap, and it peels her face down, blood, skull, and reveals she's turned into a cockroach on the thing. By far, with the sounds and the clicks and the blood and the body horror and the mutilation, is by far the grossest thing that you can see in a movie. It's just one nasty thing after another. I'm done.
Okay. So the cockroach scene and the force feeding scene. Great picks, gentlemen. 5-minute freeform when one of you starts talking.
I'm really confused. Did your movie run out of budget at some point down the line? Because your scene, I can't take serious for the entire thing, because the prosthetic mouth, and you're saying all these eyeballs and stuff, they're quickly going through it. The fridge and everything, you can see bend down where she pops out of it, but this animatronic thing, if that's gross, I get it, because it's force feeding the guts, if that's what they're interpreting as is.
Yeah.
It doesn't ever give that vibe, and it doesn't make me feel sick. It just feels like, wow, they really didn't have a budget for this movie. Why does she look like she has gums attached to her face to make her big?
I mean, everybody's entitled to an opinion, so you're entitled to your wrong opinion. That thing is fucking disgusting. And yes, I think it's very clear that she's eating her own guts when you see Freddy stab her in the fucking gut and pull it out, all the red little beads, and start putting it back in her mouth. And yes, it deforms her face. It deforms her face, and she starts puking out. And you can hear, I'm speaking of sounds, you can hear it. Oh, she's choking and puking, and then it's going out of the edges of her mouth while he keeps putting fucking guts into her mouth. Yours, she turns into a cockroach. Okay. It was 2 years after The Fly. The Fly did it way fucking better, way more disgusting. And I'm speaking of bad effects, triple the effects. The death that I'm showing in the force feeding one at least has some fucking meaning, because then she tries to reach out to Alice through her dreams, through the fridge. And it's shocking when you see all the rotten food inside of the fridge, and she's like, "Oh, help me!" Well, I will fucking choking and puking at the same time. Yours turns into a cockroach and gets crushed.
Yeah. So, okay. Yours is that force fed. It looks like Jello's going in her mouth. It seems like all this over puffed face is coming out of the thing. It doesn't have anything. I think your scene also loses it because it cuts back to the real world during the scene quite a bit. As this terrible actress is like acting, so it cuts out of the grossness, so you don't have to stay inside the gross world. You actually get put back into the real world as it's happening. And that fridge is straight out of the 80s. Just the food turns to eyeballs and guts. It just doesn't look good. It doesn't look, and we're talking about The Fly and
stop animation. It's called stop animation. Yes.
I don't care. Trash. When you're looking at The Fly, perfect example. Body horror, yes, can be done and better in movies. I have to pick it within the nightmare world, and I'm going to pick the cockroach scene where the feeling of somebody pushing down and snapping your bones and blood, and then arms growing out of it and your face peeling off in the glue trap is absolutely disgusting. Like, it's hard to watch her face. You've never imagined, if you get like a little bit stuck on a glue trap, to think your entire face rips off. It's absolutely a disgusting scene. Yours is just a prosthetic nightmare. It doesn't look real. It never looks real. It's near the end of the franchise too, so they're running out of budget left, right, and center, and you can tell.
It's literally the next movie, so relax. And what I'm saying is
how many more left?
If you're gonna judge, there's like 3 more movies. If you're gonna judge fucking cheap effects, yours are the cheap in fucking effects. Like, those legs of cockroach never feel real, and the snapping of the bones and the blood, that is every single death on the Nightmare franchise. The one
No.
cool moment is when she pulls off her face with a sticky note, and you're like, yeah, okay, that may be a little cool, but in the end, it's just fucking ridiculous because it is. Yes, it's not even her face at that point. She turns into a cockroach, and then when the cockroach is done, what does it happen? He squishes it in his hand, and it doesn't even get you a satisfying ending for that. The effects are just as 80s style as the ones on my scene. Yet my scene actually shows you a person engorging and growing up and blowing off her face and puking while choking and gagging. And it's fucking uncomfortable to watch. Yours is a cheap fly ripoff.
You want to talk about something that's unrealistic? Oh yeah, Freddy cuts her guts and shoves it in her mouth. We're talking in the world. We're talking in the world of realism now. All of a sudden, yeah, she's turning into a cockroach in their nightmare. So my thing is, when you see the face pull off, that is absolute. You see the skull. Yes, she turns into a cockroach because it's the Friday movies and they make no fucking sense. The nightmare films, they don't make any sense. But you're paying a force fed when she's feeding her, and that balloon face is. You get taken out of the gross elements.
The balloon face is gross as fuck.
Because you're looking at the prosthetic. It's not gross. You can clearly see it's not real. So the she is still standing there, and when her face is attached, it looks like her face is really attached to it. Yours looks like a robot that's there.
That's just fake prosthetic legs too, and they look like it. They look cheap.
Okay. We're going to start with Cody. Cody, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
I think the one thing about my scene versus your scene, mine stays in the reality that it's a human it's happening to. The arms may look fake and your face might get ripped off, but you feel the same thing from her because you still have that human element because the actress is still in there until her face comes off. In that movie, when she gets gets engorged and turns into a balloon, it stops becoming that actress and looks like an animatronic, looks fake, doesn't look realistic anymore. So you're like, this is just looks bad effects. Yeah, what is happening can seem gross, but overall it takes you completely out of it because it's not real, because it looks so bad. And I think that's where it's going downhill. The thought of it, sure, but they don't execute it the way that they should to make it seem actually gross. They do it so fast where her face engorges way too fast. She comes out of the fridge. It's such a quick moment. It doesn't hold that way while cracking the arms, pulling the face holds.
Strike it.
You're on a delay. I swear.
No way. We're gonna go over to Nazario, who has 1 minute to close when he starts talking.
You go against the effects on my movie, I go against the effects on your movie. It's fucking wash. What I'm saying is there's a better comparison for a movie 2 years earlier than yours that looks way better, like a million times better. They all have cheap effects. Yes, they're 80s. But mine sells you on the idea of being more disgusting because it's a person who is like, cannot stop eating when I'm going to fucking force feed you. Oh, I'm force feeding you, but it's not food. It is, what is this? It's guts, it's blood, it's slicky, it's slimy. What is, oh, it's your fucking guts that I'm pulling out of you in front of your family. And then she keeps choking on him and choking. Her face engorges. Then she starts to puke out. You can see the puke coming out while she shoves more fucking guts in her mouth. It's a nightmare scene. So yeah, she tries to reach because that is part of the movie's plot, that she tries to come out of the fridge. The food in the fridge rots slowly with while she's there, turns into eyeballs. It's fucking disgusting. The whole thing, it just gets seared into your brain how creepy and disgusting the whole situation is. Yours, she turns into a cockroach and Freddy crushes her inside of a box. That's it.
All right. We're gonna bring in the judges. Okay. Judges ready?
Yeah,
I guess. This is Brian. Interesting fight. I like one of these movies significantly more than the other one. Nazario, which one do I like more?
4.
Yeah, I love 4. I think 4 is fucking awesome. I love that movie. Chuck Russell? Yes. I want to say.
Rennie Harlan.
Rennie Harlan, thank you. Chuck Russell did 5?
No,
Right,
Chuck Russell did 3.
Chuck Russell did 3. That's why I
Yeah.
like Chuck Russell, the Blob. Anyway, I like 4 a lot. Both these scenes, gross as fuck. Weird tangent, and I'm gonna make you suffer through it before I get my vote out. I watched both of these movies on DVD on my grandma's computer in her basement the first time I saw them. I had to stay over at her house, and I put them in her computer and watched them down there so that she wouldn't walk in on me watching something gross. These are both gross. I think Nazario painted the picture of the grosser one. Personally, I think that Cody had me in the opening, but Nazario won me in the end. And I think I do think the overall prep debate was a bit of a wash. I think Nazario just, in the closing especially, won me on how just disgusting the overall concept and look of it was. Cody really drilled in the fact of how the sound effects and everything did his scene a lot of justice, which I think is true. But I think Nazario, like I said, just his way of describing the way the guts are pushed in and it's in front of the entire family and all of this really did a lot to sell why this was just a gross moment. But these are the two I thought of when writing the question. So I think the players did their job in picking the right ones. Brian.
Yeah, I agree. I think these are both two great picks. I went the other way. I actually would go with Cody on this one.
Fair enough.
For me, I kind of felt like it was the flip side of that first Bond debate because, as Cody pointed out, the thought of Nazario's, the idea of it was really good, but the execution of it with the effects and stuff, which the bad effects, it made it look just more kind of comical and kind of takes you out of it, so it doesn't become the grossest death. It becomes you're watching this effect.
Okay. Mark, what are we doing here, man?
Yeah, I get to pick a winner here. Man, I don't know how I feel about this. I did go with Cody. I kind of I feel like Cody did a really good job of kind of picking apart Nazario's argument, honestly, throughout the fight. I kind of like his point of like we kind of we're kind of taken in and out of that scene, and it kind of undercuts it a little bit. I kind of bought on the effects too, and honestly, as he's kind of describing his scene as well, of kind of just the weird body horror of turning into the roach, and then like you're still kind of, it's like this half roach, half human thing, and it's being like kind of killed in a way. He kind of sold me on that, but yeah, that's where I went.
Okay. So Cody is up 3-1. That means we are in a situation where Nazario needs to hit this next one in order to send it to the bonus. So we're going to move on to that final prep question. It is in the category of classics. And the question is, who is the best character in a 1950s to 1960s Billy Wilder film? So, Cody, you get to kick this one off as you drafted the category. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
I think the important thing of the question is best character and not best performance, but I think both stand with my pick alone. It's Gloria Swanson, Norman Desmond in Sunset Boulevard, a silent actress trying to recover her fame and glory, ends up falling in love with a younger male to try to get her to that Hollywood brink, kind of taking care of him to hold him. But the fame and the craziness that lives inside her brain makes her not in reality anymore and falls. I think it's very different than what Wilder does in a lot of his films, where he creates a love interest for the character that just wants love and just wants acceptance, but the guy doesn't love her back right away, and she has to like fight for his affection and love throughout the movie or find importance. The difference with Norma Desmond is like she commands the screen when she's on it. She takes what she wants, and she's kind of ruthless how she does it.
Time. Okay. We're gonna move over to Nazario. Nazario, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
I actually only learned about Shirley MacLaine as an old lady. So the performances that I saw from her at the beginning were the all angry lady, like dry. But then I was surprised when I saw Frank Kobilek from The Apartment. Shirley MacLaine, it's a really fucking good actress, and this character, it's a great character. She is a very vulnerable character that starts being just a lady that operates an elevator and falls in love with the wrong person. She was in a toxic relationship before anybody would know that what a toxic relationship was. And then she basically gets to the point where she was so down that she tried to end her life. And she got saved by, happenstance. So basically, you go with her to a whole movie of character development where she becomes a more she learns about her own self-worth. She gets her own value, which is very important.
Time. Okay. All right, guys. 5 minute freeform when one of you starts talking.
Love interest, female in Billy Wilder trying to take their lives when it gets so bad. Very relatable in most of his movies. It happens all the time. This is the same that Audrey Hepburn plays in Sabrina. She tries to take her life in that because she's trying to seek out love and can't find it, and she falls in love with the wrong person and ends up falling in the right person. Princess Anne when she's in Roman Holiday. Betty Schrader in Sunset Boulevard, same viewpoint. Marilyn Monroe in The 7-Year Itch.
Romantic comedy is generally the same, yes.
But as a character, this is her performance probably better than all of theirs? Sure, I will give you that because I think she's a better actress. But the difference is she's the same character, just in a different Billy Wilder movie, pointed into a different direction. So there's nothing different with this character from all the other female, because I don't think he knows how to portray a female character correct in a movie. He does better with males, except for one example, which is Norma Desmond.
Okay. Norma Desmond. That is a mugger. She likes to do the mugging. She likes to do the over-exaggerated characteristic, and they sell it like, she was a silent movie actress. It's a simple-minded character. She has one-track mind. She just wants to go back to Hollywood and become famous again. And anything that she does in this movie is with that one line of thought. Her character has no arc. She starts and ends similarly on the same situation. She is a crazy old woman who doesn't get what she wants and shoots the guy that was supposed to get for her because he decides to, move the fuck on. Fran is a character that actually starts in one point, has an interesting arc during the movie, and ends on a better point where she finds her own value. She discovers that she doesn't need to be in a toxic relationship to actually be worth something. She puts value on herself, and she has growth. It's a lovely character. It's a lovely performance. Your character,
Okay. So your thing is that she's one-dimensional. That's not even close to true. She falls farther and farther into the madness that she has created inside her own head. That's why she's such an important character. She leaves the phones ringing and something else. Her butler writes her letters to keep the fans are still interested. The mugging is a terrible example.
The director?
Thank you. Can I talk? The butler is giving her things. The mugging makes perfect examples to her because she's a silent film actress, and that's how she was taught to be. She thinks she is larger than life. She thinks she's still in this setup. She still thinks she's big. Fran still is, if she was a different love interest, the difference with her, she would be able to pull herself out of it. But yet, at the end of the day, Jack Lemmon character still has to pull her out of the depth. She has to get into another love triangle with another man, and that's where the change is set. The problem is she doesn't change. Her character is no different than every other character Billy Wilder has ever put to screen. And that's why it's not the best character. It's just another character. Norma Desmond is the female that is completely different than every other one.
I'm telling you that Fran has an emotional journey. She grapples.
So does Sabrina.
She grapples with performance, man. She gives you complexities of a person that is going through this emotional roller coaster. That is what's happening in that movie, where she finally starts to value herself and turns into somebody who can say no to a toxic relationship. It's a sweet an endearing, connected performance. Yes, yours is definitely one-dimensional, and you're saying, "Oh, well, she was taught to do that." As an actress, not in real life. We're supposed to be seeing her in real life, but
No,
what
you're not.
we're getting a performance from start to finish that it feels fake because that is all she's trying to do. She mocks her way through that whole performance, and it's just not connecting to anybody. And you're
I
saying like,
can't.
yeah, the direct. I'm still talking. Hey, hey, like the
How much
butler gives
longer?
him. Like the butler gives her the letters and stuff because that guy is also fucking insane. He was a director and he quit because he fell in love with her. So he's just feeding into her nonsense. It's not a good character. Maybe memorable because you can remember her eyes.
Okay, you're saying all these points because they're crazy and they don't make sense to you. I'm sorry that you haven't seen enough Billy Wilder films and you've seen 3 of them and you don't know that this character is portrayed in other movies. So at my time, the frame is the insanity in the world she is creating in her head, she believes is reality, which is complex to say as a character. She's not just that actress anymore. She believes she's still in the picture. She still believes that she's doing all this. And when William Holden tries to break out of that, she gets paranoid around everything. Somebody's trying to undercut her. Somebody's trying to take her out of the picture. Somebody's not portraying when they're asked to get her car. This is a complex character that you see throughout. Yes, she's over the top and crazy. I get it. But as a character, that's what I want. We're not going on the performance.
My
We're going on
point
the
is
character
that you're
itself.
not supposed to
Fran,
see that
I'm
on the
talking.
performance.
Fran is the same character through all Billy Wilder movies. It doesn't change.
Time. What was the Billy Wilder film that Boatman named his team after?
Double Indemnity.
What's his team right now?
Judgment City.
Ugh. Okay. We're gonna start with Nazario. Nazario, you get a 1 minute closing when you start talking.
When you want to see a character do the descent into madness thing, you have to portray that the person is going insane without being really obvious about it. If you go with like a Natalie Portman in Black Swan, that makes you know that that kind of performance can have subtlety. The Norma Desmond character just mocks her way through the whole movie. It's just like put a fucking pointy hat on her and she's a witch. It's not. It's just memorable because of all the faces that she makes. She starts being insane. She ends up being insane. She kills somebody. That I don't understand how that is supposed to be the best character. What I'm saying is, in that period of time, the character of Fran, the Fran from the apartment, is a sweet love interest that comes out from being a love interest and a toxic relationship and becomes something more. Becomes a woman that is able to know her own value, able to give herself the place which she deserves to be, and make a choice based on what she wants to do, not what men want to do. Which for this era of the movies in the 50s and 60s was very important. She has an arc. She changes. She comes together. Norma Desmond doesn't.
Int. Strike it from the record. We're gonna start with. I said int.
I know Norma Desmond shouldn't have counted. I mean, it's fine. We'll move on.
Oh, okay. All right. 1 minute for Cody when he starts talking.
He literally said that a female in Fran doesn't rely on a man, but then ends up relying on a man. It's the same character arc. She doesn't do anything different. Yes, she tries to take her life. All Billy Wilder females try to take their life. That's the one. You want to talk about one-dimensional characters? That's Fran. That's Sabrina. That's Princess Anne. That's Marilyn Monroe in the 7 Years. They're all the exact same. They're great overall, but the great performances. We're talking about the character itself. You can say that she's weird and mean mugs, but this character that they created, that's a silent actress from years gone by, that's trying to emerge and gets paranoid and freak and thinks she's this still larger than life star, but it's all a facade and it's all fake. And she comes into becoming crazier and crazier when she's getting hauled away from the police and she believes she's on the red carpet of an event. That's a character that has complex levels and complex development that you haven't seen in the movie. Yes, she mean mugs the entire movie, but that's the character she is portraying, and it's a fantastic one. Fantastic one counts.
Yeah, I was gonna say fantastic one doesn't count. Okay, so I'm glad we're on the same page. All right. Okay. Mark, you are leading us off on this one.
Ooh, my favorite thing. My favorite thing ever when I get to tell you who I picked. I mean, like it's always great. And then like somebody always gives me a look.
You don't like going last. You like going first. Come on, man.
Yeah, what do you want, Mark?
I just don't like going. I agree to be here.
Why are you here?
I just don't like going.
I went with Cody. And it just felt weird just writing down Cody, so I just put the end there. Like, I don't know why I did. It was a weird choice, if we're being honest. I think in general, it came down to like who I think is kind of who kind of pitched. Like, I think the more unique character. Like, and I think that's kind of like in not somebody I think we kind of seen a bunch. I think Cody did kind of a pretty good job, like kind of striking down the Fran character. How we've seen this before. It's not super unique. And in general, I feel like Cody kind of painted this really neat picture, for like Norma Desmond. So I ended up, going with Cody on that one.
Okay. I've seen one of these movies. I've not seen the other. But if you think I've remembered anything from one of these movies that I've seen, you're crazy. I went with Nazario. Here's why. I think that, yes, Cody's hit on, we've seen this. We've seen this before. It didn't totally work for me because, like, we weren't talking about those movies. If this is the best version of that, those don't really matter. If he had picked one of those worst ones and he had said, these like the one the girl from the apartment is better, why didn't you pick that one? That I would have taken credit to. But if this is the best version of all of those things that he's done a bunch of times, it doesn't matter. It's still the best character. That's kind of how I saw that. And I think that Nazario sold me on why Cody's character just kind of is big, does a lot of the same stuff throughout the movie, and his character has a lot of growth and character development from where they start out at the beginning of the movie and where they end up at the end of the movie. So I went with Nazario. Brian, where are you going and why?
Yeah, I felt like the arguments for Nazario's pros and cons kind of evened out. So it really came down to how I felt about the Sunset Boulevard character. Pro or con, beat that one. And for me, I thought they both made good points because, like, Nazario has talked about how, especially his closing when it says she starts insane, she ends insane. It's the same character at the end, that kind of thing. So there really was not a whole lot of character arc there. But then, as Cody pointed out, it was like, but the character, it doesn't change a lot, but it's so layered, the reason she is the way she is, the way she portrays that character, everything like that. So it really came down to which one tilted me ever so slightly, and your winner.
All right, that means your winner and still Fanzone debate champion is Cody Newberry. We are going to get into post-match interviews. We are going to start by talking to Nazario. Nazario, fantastic job. I mean, you predicted before we started you were going to be 4-0. You were not 4-0. In fact, you were voted for a lot this evening. How are you feeling about the match, man?
It's all right. I kind of sucks that I had to rip on Splinter and I didn't even get the fucking point. Splinter's great. So just let's leave that there. But in general, like, God is fucking great at this shit. Like, it's like going up against a fucking bull. And you try and you make an honest effort. But then he goes and picks fucking Billy Wilder, who I've only seen 3 movies. So I get to pick from 3 movies because I'm not watching any more fucking movies for this. Other than that, yeah, I think it's the same that happened with Kirk. I got the 1 point. So at least I can say I got 1 point against the 2 champs. And that, I guess, has to be enough.
That's fair. Nazario, we will be seeing you back next season if you wish to be here. is there anybody you want to go up against when we see you next year?
Mike fucking Hanley.
I can make that happen.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Nazario, I do think you did an excellent job tonight. Thank you for being here. And honestly, I think you played great this whole season. Continue to play great. I'm looking forward to seeing you one day hold this belt. I do think that it is ever so close. I know you have a different belt. I get it, Nazario. But we'll see you real soon next year, Nazario, as you bring in the winner, Cody Newberry. Cody, you won, I want to say handedly. You win 4-1, and you had a clean sweep. Nazario did not. And you had the tiebreakers otherwise. How are you feeling? But yet you seemed nervous throughout. How are you feeling?
I'm always nervous because I have to go into the speed round if I don't go 4-1, and I'm terrible in the speed round.
Wait till you hear what the categories were.
I'm glad I wasn't here. But here's the thing. I enjoy debating. I think this one, I'm not ever confident going in. I also pick one to lose every time. I guess I can concede the Bond one at this point. But I thought I was going to lose a different one. No, I've said it numerous times. I think you can lose in the picking, like where you pick. Like if you pick something wrong, it's hard to argue it at this point. I'm very precise with what I pick, and I try to do it. But he did great. A 4-1 looks at the score, but I could see him winning some of them. I just peeked behind the curtain. I had this all prepped out a week ago. I got pushed. I'm just able to add more prep into it. So at that point, I become better at it. But I just hate, you three have been here for a long time. I just hate when somebody gets on the side and goes, "Oh, I don't want to win," or "Oh, I had no time," or "Oh, this didn't matter to me." Like, this matters to me. I enjoy it. You three put your time and effort into judging this. I want to fight the best I can. So at this point in time, I don't want to come out and just be like not prepared or not take it serious or not try, even though I won the title. Like, again, I would take it. Somebody take it. I get to play more if somebody takes it. But at this point in time, I'm going to hold it as long as I'm able to hold it, because I'm going to do as much as I can to win. So I'm not going to just lay over and die. So
Yeah.
Plus, there are players I haven't played that I want to play. So
tell me who.
Like Rue, I've never played. I would like to play Bill. I would like to play Brian when Brian comes back. Hopefully that's coming soon. But I would like to debate people.
Next title.
I just want to play people I haven't debated before, because I think it's fun to try, you know?
I think Rue and Bill are definite possibilities. I think both have challenged for the belt before. I think it could definitely happen. But before we get there, I invited him here tonight, but he's busy prepping in his dungeon of chaos. Mr. Kirk Kowalkowski will be cashing in his free title shot at the final act. Final act 3, I believe.
Nice.
4? 3.
75.
I don't know, man.
It was called different names at some point. I don't know.
I think it's the 3rd one. He's cashing in, and you're playing Kirk in 3 weeks. So your thoughts on not only going up against Kirk for the 3rd time, but also for the title where you're holding the belt at the beginning of the match.
Yeah. So he handed me the first loss. That resonated. I can say confidently, and I think he would also agree, he did not play his best game against me. Because I think it was 4-1.
In match 2?
Yes.
You won 4-1, yes.
Yes. So both my last matches were 4-1. I plan that every time because I don't want to go to speed round. But here's the deal. I don't believe Kirk is going to play as easy as he did on me last time. But the advantage I have is I get to pick 3 categories. He only gets to pick 2 this time. So the ball's in my court. I just have to be prepared with what he throws. So, yeah, I think this would cement help my legacy in this league if I can defend against Kirk. I beat Kirk for the belt. I would like to defend it against him and take the rubber match and make it 2-1. So I'm going to be putting in a ton of effort and a ton of work, but we'll see what happens.
I think, we've discussed this a lot. The Kirk Cody rivalry, if you want to call it that, it's going to be 3 matches at this point. The final question I want to have for you, Cody, is you've said, like, at the beginning of this match, Nazario could have beaten you, and that would have been a great story. That you want to see Rue, you want to see these other people and play these other people. What do you want to see more? Do you want to be the person holding that belt at the end of the season? Or do you want to see a Nazario, a Rue, a Jacoby, a someone, or a Kirk even with that belt back again for the fun story? Cody, tell me definitively.
I want to win. I want to hold the belt and I want to win. And here's the deal. Kirk beat me 1 and I wasn't able to watch Blade Runner. Because of it. My thing is I can't, if he beats me this time, everybody can say match 2 was a fluke. If I beat him, I've won it from him and I've defended against him. That rivalry's done. But here's my thing: if Kirk beats me, no one else in this league has beaten Kirk. So that's my take. So.
All right, Cody, a lot of strong words. Wants the belt at the end of the season. It makes sense. But actually, gentlemen, we have one more person to hear from. Kirk Kowalkowski is here, and he is going to quickly say, Kirk, you're cashing in your title shot. You haven't played since the beginning of the year, and you're going up against Cody Newberry at the final act. You haven't played in a while. I said this to Cody at the beginning of this match. Haven't played in a while. Is there rust? Or are you, you've been sitting in the background waiting? Are you going to take your belt back from Cody?
I hope so. I'd like to. I am planning on really prepping for this. It's been nice to have pretty much a year off after 2 really busy years of doing this. So is there going to be rust? Yeah, but there's also going to be some relaxation, that might have not been there before, where I haven't been killing myself over it for a long time. Haven't been playing a lot of trivia either, so I'm nice and rested. We'll see what happens. I want to win. I want to beat Cody. I want to win that rubber match. I think he seems like he feels like he has more to lose than I do. I don't know. Maybe that's not the case. But I mean, yeah, I've done what I've done. I've made my mark, and beating Cody would be the cherry on top of that, and getting that belt back. If not, Cody's a worthy champion, and I mean, I think it's going to come down to one of us is going to be the champion of this thing for a while. So it'll be a good match.
Kirk, thanks for popping in. I'm excited to see it in a few weeks. Final thoughts. I don't normally give my final thoughts, but I would like to say that I think Nazario played absolutely fucking fantastic. I thought he did great. I actually voted for him more than I voted for Cody, which, if that doesn't prove that I do this unbiasedly, I don't know what does. But I do think that they both played fantastic. Cody versus Kirk 3, very much looking forward to it. It's obviously the type of title card we want to see, but I think Kirk makes some good points. Cody seems like he has a lot more to lose than Kirk. If Kirk loses, he's like, hey, man, Cody's the champion. But if he wins, then that's just the cherry on top of a great career. I'm looking forward to it. Mark, final thoughts from you.
Yeah, there were definitely a couple times where, I was just as close to giving the point to Nazario. I know competitors would really love hearing that. But, I mean, at the very least, Nazario was able to make Cody's eyes pop out of his head at least a couple of times today. And, that's always fun when you just get that just what the fuck are you talking about look from Cody. You know, it's always nice to see on screen. But yeah, you know, we're gonna get the we're gonna get the ending of a trilogy next, and you know that's always fun, and especially when it's 1-1, and you know we got already they're already talking a little bit of shit. You know, it's why we do this.
Brian, final thoughts from you.
Yeah, I mean, I know we say it a lot. Nick Tang's kind of cliche, but in this case, it's really true. Is that it's a lot closer than it looked. I mean, Cody won 4 of the 5, but all except one of them I thought was like really close. There's only one I thought was kind of lopsided in one direction. The rest of them really one more point either way could have made the difference. But it was a great match. I already know Nazario hates me and thinks I'm biased against him. This won't help that. So sorry about that, Nazario. But I swear I'm just judging by the debates. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun match, fun cap off to this season or this run. Cody versus Kirk 3. It'll be great. Honestly, I'd like to see more new blood in there. So one of you beat the other one, and then somebody like go retire or lose or something. So. But it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Fair enough. Thank you guys for watching, and we're gonna see that at the final act. That's gonna be in December, but in a couple weeks here, while we give these players time to prep, we are gonna see. We shot it a while ago. You guys have heard about it. It's Andrew Barr versus Adelaide Spence. We talked about Jackie Robinson. It's scary times.
Oh God!
You're gonna see that in 2 weeks, so be looking forward to
PTSD.
that, and then we'll see you at the final act. And next year, there's a lot of exciting things happening in Fanzone Debate that I can't yet discuss, but are going to be very, very fun. So I'm looking forward to it. And thank you guys. Thank you to Mark and Brian for judging. Thank you to Kirk and Cody for all they do on the prepping side. Thank you to Nazario for, as always, being a great competitor. I have been Tim. We will see you guys next time with another great match. Until then, bye-bye.